Welcome to Good Not Great, episode 10. We made it. 10.
This is it. We're done.
I was told that 10 is where things really start to accelerate. So,
oh boy,
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to all the comments.
I think we are in so much trouble.
In celebration of the 10th episode, we have chosen to flip the script a bit, and we are starting with beers that are already open.
Yeah, we started
and
drinking
we will do kind of
way before the show started.
A mid-episode.
Yeah, we'll get the sound clip somewhere.
We'll still do it. So what do you got over there?
Okay. Well, I'm drinking our Old Faithful friend Source Farmhouse Brewery. Just the standard source of hoppiness. This is the one that got me into hazy IPAs. So I'm really happy about that. I didn't realize it was double dry hopped. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, but
DDH.
That's it. Hazy, juicy, tropical flavor, all from hops.
How do they spell juicy?
The right way, with a C.
Really?
Yeah. What did you think?
I think on a lot of the beers they are misspelling juicy.
Joosee.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, maybe
and someone's like, is that some kind of tropical fruit?
Maybe this is a collector's item.
They spelled juicy correctly.
Yeah, this might be.
This is first batch.
I'm gonna have to look at the labels of the next batch and see if I got like a.
It's before they got into the misspelled juicy, the tangos, the.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And then they just started like falling off the tracks. Remind me not to throw this out because this could be worth some money someday. Correctly spelled.
So let me tell you what I got over here. This is a beer that you gave me in the lobby, and the reason that happened is because we both attempted to go find more interesting beer.
Yep.
Before the episode, and then what we actually brought here is just kind of like a random assortment of things that were in our fridge, except for this one thing that I'm going to give you, which I'm pretty excited about, that I got this weekend.
I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, I'll let you finish, but I'll tell you what I think it looks like after, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong.
You haven't seen this yet.
Well, so it looks like the kind of beer that's brewed at a restaurant.
Well, it is.
Is that right?
Yeah. We'll talk more about that.
Okay. And I don't know about this beer. It's because of the logo at the top. It looks like a restaurant logo.
Yeah, no, it is I guess similar to like Red Tank.
Okay.
But the beer is good, and they actually like throw it in cans and have real labels.
But Red Tank's like just like a.
Oh, sorry, not Red Tank.
Beer Vino.
Beer Vino.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what I thought you meant.
Whew.
I got it. We're there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm like running on. I'm like at 30% right now.
Why?
In life.
Oh,
I
just
don't know.
in general.
So what I have here is Old Heights Sunday Special.
Okay.
Heightstown, New Jersey. It is a coffee oatmeal stout, 8.8% alcohol. That's going to do me good. And it says here that the coffee is from Little Key Coffee. And I love it when like breweries partner with local businesses.
Yeah.
Like I'm waiting for some kind of like a Source Rook thing or someone Rook thing.
I think I don't want to put words in their mouths.
I feel like they're almost at the level where they could actually like pay a brewery for a Rook beer.
Oh yeah.
That is not in partnership with anyone. That's so like
good.
They just sell it similar to what Starbucks I think did for a while.
Do you think it's more profitable or like more beneficial for them to just like basically lease their brand to as many breweries as possible and say like use our coffee and create some type of like coffee milk stout, something like that, like whatever. And then we get to pop up all over the place versus being like, hey, you, one brewery, make our beer for us, and then we have
I don't know the mechanics of it. I wonder if like some breweries would actually want like a exclusivity type agreement, or if it would
I guess it depends on who the coffee maker or the roastery or whoever it is. Like if they're big players, then like they get to call the shots. Yeah. Like if it was like a Rook and Source combo, I think Rook is a little bit further ahead since they've been around longer and they have more locations and they've established their base a little bit broader than Source has.
As far as like their ability to negotiate?
Like who could call the shots? I think Source would like sell that beer would sell out in minutes just because of that combination.
Yeah.
But I think
there was like there was a beer that used Buscardo beans too.
I thought that was Source.
I thought it was Source too.
And it was so I think what happened was I think Rook did do a collaboration at the same time that that Source was trying to get
with someone else.
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly how I remember it.
And so, but not like a bad. It's not even a trade off. Like Buscardo's great. There's a Buscardo here that used to be.
And they're both local Monmouth County brands.
Everybody knows both. I think it's awesome that they are able to do that. I'd love to see more of it. And it's really cool when they keep it local too, like not some big chain or whatever that
Yeah. Danny, if you're listening.
Yeah, Danny, what's up?
Shout out, Danny.
It's been so long.
What up?
We do have to come here and visit everybody like during regular hours. Just like get a coffee, get a pizza, hang out with Adam
crew,
and Danny.
Get the German guy.
Yeah.
He's not
He's
here
not
anymore.
here anymore. He's moved on. But I think that'd be great. That'd be so fun.
Another cool thing, speaking of Old Heights, that happened in the past week is they put out a bunch of releases on the platform. So what do we got? Today there was a Milkshake IPA release. Another which I actually bought. So if you want to buy something,
I
buy
didn't
it,
look yet.
And we're going to go out there.
Okay.
Yeah. And any IPA as well. And yeah, I mean, like they're just there was also they put out a release, and it was, do you know how to describe it?
So it was like a pairing session. I don't remember who it was with, but
Session, tasting session.
Well, okay, so I'm calling it.
Oh, a pairing.
No, I'm calling it a pairing session because it was like you're pairing one of their beers with somebody who's going to be speaking about something.
Yeah.
It's not a tasting session because you're not showing up to like try a bunch of things.
Okay.
I'm saying it like pairing. You're thinking of pairing as like
pair programming.
Okay. Okay, so we lost 99% of our listeners. No, like you're thinking of like pairing maybe as like food and wine or food and beer or something like that, maybe. So I think it's the same idea. You're just pairing the beer with like a conversation rather than the beer with the food, which is really cool.
Who's the person that is?
Let's see.
It's someone from the Eagles, so I'm assuming the beer is made with real eagle meat.
God, I hope so.
So that the pairing makes sense. If it says that in there, we might have to pull it off the platform.
No, that'd be way too perfect.
Yep.
Oh, this is going to take a long time.
And then, just like while Colin's looking that up, Source also kind of rounded out the Valentine's Day beers. They had a Valentine's Day beer come out. They also released the 5th edition, I think, of Visual Cortex, which is a triple IPA. Mark Dill, I believe, just chugged it like
I haven't seen it yet.
He's meant to do.
Oh, my God.
And then they also released the Candle.
The Candle was a late edition. They actually didn't include that right away, and then they did.
People love them. I never had one, but what's the deal?
I know nothing about the candles.
So for the listeners, Source sometimes releases a candle with the release.
Yeah, and they do really well. And they're somehow they are related. I don't know if what's happening is like when the beer is made, there's like some excess that they can use to like then blend with wax and make like a really good smelling candle, so there's like no wastage, or if they're somehow matching the smell or taste or whatever flavor of the beer with a smell that they can like recreate in a candle form. I don't know what
my house already smells like spilt beer, so I don't need to. I'm just kidding.
That'd be amazing if the candles just smell like a tap room.
It smells like college dorm room. Yeah.
But like after a week.
There used to be a bar in.
Hold on, real quick. It's called a virtual event. It's a talk and tasting. So you were right. Talk and tasting with Phillies announcer Tom McCarthy. So that's gonna probably be pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's gonna have one of those like cool announcer voices probably, and
I don't know about the Phillies, but
well, yeah, you can, different, whatever. Anyway, you were saying
there was/is, I think, and Matt Brown, correct me if I'm wrong, a bar in Brooklyn called Owl Farm. Owl, like
OWL, yeah.
Yeah.
What other version of owl?
I don't know, just like the way that my mouth moved when I said owl combined with like the delay between me saying it and there's not really a delay. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. But like something about the way I said owl made just say owl.
Owl.
And then wait 5 seconds. Now, are you confident that you said it right? Okay. So just something about it. I said owl.
You get in my
Owl
head.
Farm. OWL.
Yeah.
They had for a long time, and I think still do have, beers that were on tap, right? And then they would have whiskeys that were distilled from those beers.
With bits of owl meat in it.
With little bits of owl meat cut up inside of it, kind of to give it a... It's more about the texture than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, owl meat doesn't impart much flavor.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
There's probably not a lot of it either. It takes a lot of owls to probably get enough like flavor or meat.
And you get its wisdom when you drink it.
Oh, that's cool.
So they would have something like Racer 5 IPA, and then they would have a whiskey that was distilled from Racer 5 IPA. I almost did that. That's so funny.
Christian,
Colin just pulled out a Bud Light.
would you like a Bud Light?
I'm good, guys.
Okay. Well, then this is going to be the first time we have a Bud Light on the show. And I'm okay with it.
So, but there was a sister bar to Owl Farm while I'm on the topic, which was my favorite bar. It was called Mission Dolores, and I just found out recently that they are permanently closed.
Wow. I think one of the segments on this show is regularly announcing really cool bars and restaurants that are closing down permanently. So that's fun that we do that.
Sucks.
I know.
And especially to have a place like that. I mean, so downtown we went to a few times. We had some memories there, but like I went to this place all the time. Like I went there constantly because I lived right around the corner. And even before I moved to Brooklyn, it was my favorite bar. So I moved there, and then I was like, oh my God, I live right by my favorite bar. So I was in there all the time.
That's amazing. Remind me what it's called again?
It's called Mission Dolores, which is, I think, named
Dolores.
after a neighborhood in San Francisco.
Well, there's the Mission, and then Dolores is like part of the Mission, or is it?
Maybe it's named after a church.
Okay.
But either way,
That would make
let me
sense.
tell you about this bar. There, first of all, dogs are allowed. So there's
Check.
always dogs there.
Okay.
The second thing is that there were 3 zones to the bar.
Okay.
So when you first walk in, there was essentially covered. It used to be like an auto shop, I think. So there was a covered room, but that was open on both sides. So imagine just like, it has a ceiling.
Yeah.
But like both sides are open, so air is flowing through.
Okay.
So it's inside outside.
Oh.
Then you would walk past that section, and you would go to the outside section. So right after the inside-outside section, there was a no ceiling, completely open to the air, and when it rained, it would just like rain into that area.
Oh, okay. Oh.
And like it had seats and everything. It was great. So that's the outside area. And then if you walked through that, you would get to the bar, which was toward the back. So it was inside, outside, outside, inside.
That's
it was the best place ever.
That's pretty sweet.
And it had a pinball machine.
That reminds me. Oh, well, that maybe doesn't as much anymore, but that reminds me of a place in Austin, Texas. I don't know I don't remember if you went there or not. I definitely wasn't there with you, but it was a place that when you walked in, it was sort of like, okay, if you're walking in off the street, it's like a horseshoe shape. On the left side was a bar. I think it was mostly just a bar. There was like a wall of taps. Along the back, that might have been like kitchen or like just like a place that people don't hang out. And then on the right was like a bunch of tables, outside and inside. And then in the middle was just like a commons area, which was really cool and really sort of strange to see. They had all of this land and all this property, and they only used like 2/3 of it,
right?
Maybe, and then like the rest was just like open space.
I love that.
And so not that that's like what you described, but I was picturing that because most of their space was technically outdoors. So if it rained, there were no walls to protect you. There, like the inside was probably the size of this space, and then the rest of it was all outside, which was really cool and really nice. And I like places like that, and I wish there was more around here like that.
It was cool. Like you would be at the bar, get a drink, because there's no table service. It's just a bar, so you get a drink, and then if it's raining, you have to like essentially run across the outside area to get to the outside area.
Ooh, I want to challenge your memory, and I don't know if you'll know this because I've only been once, and I don't know that you lived in this area in Brooklyn. There's a bar, I think it's a bar restaurant in Brooklyn, and it has a barbecue spot in it. So I'll describe the way it looks. When you walk in, it's just like sort of like a long, sort of like deep hall. On the right, there's like 2 windows. There's a window right near the front door for beer.
Okay.
And then there's a window sort of further down to the left for food. And then as you go all the way to the back, there's a stage in the way back. And they did a lot of country music there.
I'm not sure.
That doesn't
You
sound...
don't know the name of it?
I can't remember the name at all.
When you first started describing it, I was thinking of the Dinosaur Barbecue location that's in Brooklyn.
No. I know that.
There's no stage or anything there.
No, yeah. I mean, maybe this maybe wasn't a stage, but I don't think it was Dinosaur Barbecue. I would have remembered that. Yeah, it was like it was a very cool spot. It was kind of like grimy and like grungy.
That's what you like.
Yeah, it was. But like the barbecue was really good. The music was great, and the place was just packed. And all they did was serve Bud Light, I think, or no, sorry, Budweiser. But like really big Budweisers. That's what I remember. And we had to wait in line to get in. It was crazy, but it was awesome.
One time I went somewhere, I think it was part of like the road trip across the country thing. And I asked like what IPA they had on tap. And they were like, is that a Bud or Bud Light? And I was like,
did you know that in the South, if you order a soda, you say, can I get a Coke? And they say, what kind? And you can say Sprite.
No.
That's how you order a soda in the South. You don't say like, can I get pop? Can I get a soda? Can I get fizzy drink? You say, can I get a Coke? And they're like, sure, what kind do you want? And you'd be like,
I don't like that.
I want orange soda. They're like, you got it.
I've noticed
and like nobody bats an eye.
That when I go to restaurants, they start like, because I have kids, like they want soda sometimes, and normally we don't give them soda, but sometimes we do. And when you say like they'll have soda and you prompt them to say what they want, the waitress always says like, we carry Coke products, or we carry Pepsi. Like they lead with that as if you're supposed to like know their catalog.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, Pepsi. Okay, that's the 7-Up. Is that
Sierra Mist right. Or I don't think that's. I don't know.
Is 7-Up completely third party? I know that Dr. Pepper is totally.
I don't know.
That's independent.
Because I thought Sierra Mist. Wait, no, Sierra Mist. No, that would be. Sprite is a Coke
Sprite.
product?
There's Sprite, Sierra Mist, and 7-Up. I think 2 of them might be owned by the same company. This is,
This is hard-hitting questions that everybody wants to hear.
These are the things we need to know. But I got to say that I watched at the beginning of the pandemic a video of people running through Target with no masks on, screaming like, take off your mask, you're all sheep. Like they're trying to put a muzzle on you, which is ridiculous. But closing down my favorite bars is the number one way to get me to do that shit. I'm gonna run through the streets. No, I'm still very far from doing that. But come on, people. I mean, obviously there's nothing we can do. I mean, obviously this has to happen, but it hurts when it's a place that you have memories in.
Oh, I totally agree. I'm so worried that some of the places that, I mean, like downtown was a shot through my heart. I keep
the downstairs or the upstairs. I think traditionally for you it was the downstairs, right?
I think both. Yeah, they both have like very different places in my heart. Like they're like the downstairs was just like a shooting range. Like it just was like these like weird, drunk, like gelled haired idiots running around like trying to hit on all the girls down there. And then upstairs was just like all the drunk, like out of their minds people that just wanted to dance.
Yeah.
Like, and that was, they both had their pros and cons, and in most cases the cons were pros, and that's what made it special.
The upstairs didn't really feel too clubby. It felt more like, here's a bunch of people that don't know how to dance, trying to figure it out.
It felt like a bunch of like beach town kids that like grew up in a bubble, finally found their place to like unwind with each other. Like everybody knew everybody there, like by some like one or 2 degrees of separation.
You would see people you knew there
all the time.
Yeah.
And if I didn't know them, I knew that I could connect the dots to them somehow. I mean, I grew up in this area forever, so I definitely have way more connections to people. But
when I go back to my hometown, I sometimes see people that I know, and I look at them across the room, and I'm like, oh man, I can't. It's such a coincidence that person's here. And it's like,
no, it's not.
No, it's not. Mm-hmm. They're here all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to take a real quick break to introduce this beer that I'm drinking. This is called Bud Light. It's by, sorry, I'm looking for the brewery's name. Anheuser-Busch. It is a lager, and you know what? I don't think they.
See how patient I'm being?
I don't think they put the ABV on it, but it's probably pretty high. Interesting. Oh, here you go. 4.2%. Wow, that's pretty good. That's almost Johnny Sweet Spot zone.
Have you ever noticed that Miller Lite is Lite? What's the deal with that?
Huh.
Okay. Now, what this actually brought me kind of on something that I did want to talk about too.
Okay.
Which is I'm a little bit behind here, but did you see the Anheuser-Busch Super Bowl commercial?
I thought there was going to be more.
Now answer yes or no.
I don't know. Probably.
Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did, yeah.
Did you see a commercial about let's grab a beer?
I don't know.
Okay, let me lay out the premise.
Okay.
Someone's getting fired. Someone walks in and they're like, let's grab a beer.
Yeah.
Someone's wedding got rained out.
Yep.
They cheers 2 beers.
Okay.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And the idea is of this year's Budweiser commercial, which they're always good, but this year the idea is that like in tough times, like let's grab a beer doesn't mean let's grab a beer. It means like let's talk it out. Let's go somewhere where you and I can really connect about this thing.
Yep.
And I just like I don't know why, like it was a day before the Super Bowl and I like actually felt emotional about this because I think back on so many times like in my life, a lot of them to do with work, unfortunately, but like so many times in my life where like something wasn't going right and like it wasn't like let's go get drunk, but it was like let's go somewhere private and talk about this, whether that's like let's go get a sandwich together or like let's let's like, hey, after work today, are you busy? And it's like so many connections and like people's name I could say right now that I've built relationships with off the back of something so simple, where it's like, and even not in bad times, like there have been times, Mike Cunningham, if you're listening, this is one of my classics. He's actually from Middletown.
Okay.
But he, like, the way that we got to be friends is like we're in work meetings like week after week, and then one day I was just like, you want to grab a beer after work? Because like you seem cool. Yeah. And like, you know, we've been friends for like 7 years now. You know, it's like that, and like through, you know, Well, and it's just like how many things are built on the back of just like it doesn't have to be weird to be like let's grab a beer. It's just fine.
Well, I think to put it from like my perspective, when we first started hanging out, like you suggested of all places the best craft beer bar, restaurant, whatever, like in our area.
Maloney's.
Maloney's, and that ended up being like for me, like when I'm trying to like if I'm gonna hang out with somebody for the first time or like hang out with somebody if I've known them forever, like you've heard like the layover test or the airport test or something.
Could you be stuck in like an airport lounge with this person?
And so like when we went out and had dinner at Maloney's, we got beers. Like
I got some more beers later.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like that was sort of like the test, not like a test. It was more
a
like,
bit of a test.
Yeah. Now you know, it was sort of this way of being like, hey, like this is the type of night that I would probably look for, and I remember when it was like 11 o'clock, everybody was leaving. That just splattered all over your shirt, and I was like, well, I guess we've got, because it was like a Tuesday or like a Thursday or something, and it was just, everything was dying down, and it was only 11 o'clock, and we'd already had like 3 or 4 beers, and it was like,
Steve's like, stop, do not have more beers.
and we were like, no, like, you know, maybe we'll go somewhere
I've
else.
never met Colin before, but like he's leaving his car here, so like we're going. Yeah. Steve, just sit off to the side. It's fine.
We did Uber, didn't we?
I think so.
Yeah. That's right. It was pretty messy. Yeah. But we ended up at some other place in Manasquan, I think.
It was Old Glory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Keyport.
Okay, Keyport. Yeah, and then we got there, and it felt like a Friday or like a Saturday night. All of a sudden, it's just like the whole place opened up, and it was really cool. And so for me, that was like, I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I could do this all the time. Like, this is what I want to do with my free time anyway. So like, if I can go out and like have a good time, Like, this guy seems pretty cool. Like, we can
We
probably go do this.
commiserated.
Yeah.
You know, because we had things in common.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's finding like shared things. That's how you build relationships. That's everything.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a wee bairn, as they say, a babe, I don't know why I'm talking about this. I feel like I say that in every episode, but like my dad we would go to a casino or something. My dad would say,
Yeah.
Definitely addicted to gambling, but very good at it.
Well, that's why you get addicted.
But very good at it.
Yeah.
And I would get 1% of the profits.
Wow. That's
And
a great,
then,
and you didn't really have to do much,
I didn't have
guessing.
to pay the losses. So it's a win.
Wow.
Win,
That's
win,
a
win,
great deal.
win for me.
Great deal.
Yeah, one day he won a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Did you get your legit 1% cut?
I woke up and I was like, what is this? I was like, you're supposed to give me 1%, not 100%. It was a lot of money.
I'm trying to come up with, like, in my head, what could be a lot for like a kid, and I guess it could be anything. Whoa, that's
It was pretty wild.
good.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's a good piggy
So-
bank.
We still heard that,
I
right?
was just gonna say.
Like, there's not
My-
one,
my father-
but two active microphones in front of you.
$200,000 in one night, and then he went back the next night, and he won $60,000 more.
Yeah, no
And
wonder
as
he
a
was
result of
addicted
doing
to it. That's amazing.
Yeah, it
I
make
would
you
be
addicted.
too.
As a result of that, they sent him on a tour of the casinos, which that's what they do because they want to get their money back. So they're like, how would you like a trip to all of our other casinos? And then you show up and you gamble and you lose the money.
I would just go and not gamble.
Now, my dad would drop me off in the arcade because the
Yeah.
arcade in the casino is sick. And I don't know, like anyone that's got kids and goes to a casino, it's not obvious that there is an arcade, but there always is one. And
I've
it's
never seen one.
big.
It's not free, I'm guessing.
It's not free,
Okay.
and a lot of the games, just like because freaking casino, like a lot of the games are the like almost like games of chance. It's a casino light,
Yeah.
you know.
That seems like
It
something.
shouldn't be legal probably to get like kids addicted to gambling.
Probably. But so that seems like the kind of thing where drinks are free at a casino because they want to keep you playing and they want to keep
It is
you at the
100%
tables.
exactly that. Yeah.
But well,
it's
so-
like we're gonna watch your kids for free so that you can gamble.
But the arcade should be free for that reason.
Probably.
Like I realize that like it's
but
like
there's a meeting somewhere where they're like, okay, we're gonna make the arcade free and all the kids are gonna love it. And then Johnson is in the corner and he's like, what if we charge for it?
yeah,
And they're
I mean,
like, Johnson,
but then
you.
it's the same thing as like alcohol. It's like, okay, what do you need to do to keep the adults in their chairs? Feed them alcohol for free. What do you need to do to keep the adults
Not worried about their kids.
not
You
worried
need
about their
free
kids,
daycare.
not distracted by their kids?
Daycare
put
would be the ultimate, really.
Sure, daycare or an arcade or whatever.
God, if casinos
That's
had
free.
daycare, I would go there. I would go there, put the kids in daycare and like
Like,
gamble
whoa,
and
whoa.
have dinner and like.
We didn't know you were gonna bring 5 children with you.
It's like they're
know-
doing the math. They have a guy in the back. Like,
You know what I would do? I would open a Chuck E. Cheese in a casino.
There you go.
Because you're preparing kids for the future.
But is the food free?
Yeah, I would make it free. It's
I'd be
just a
there.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yep.
I wouldn't go to
You
the
buy it
casino.
with your
I'd
comp
go to the Chuck E.
dollars.
Cheese.
Would you really?
I look at Chuck E. Cheese every single day that I go to order food from DoorDash. Anytime that I order
Yo,
food
I'm
from
not
there,
the only one.
oh
they
my
can't
god.
bring you Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah,
Yeah, they can.
Do they bring like a shitty arcade machine?
No, but I've looked at that stuffed crust pizza for
No, Debbie Downer. They don't bring you the fucking arcade machine.
more than 20 times. And I'm saying that because it's definitely not less than 20. It might be like 100, but like
Why would you want pizza baked by a rat?
more than 20 times. I've looked at Chuck E. Cheese on DoorDash and been like,
That pizza's low key
I?
pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's low key good.
do you remember old school Pizza Hut?
Yeah.
Is it
Pizza
like
Hut's
that?
good.
Yeah.
Cheesy bread.
Because that's what I
Or it's
want.
like kind of puffy a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, it's like that.
I haven't had Pizza Hut in like probably 5 to 10 years, and all I can remember was like it was my favorite pizza ever, and I don't remember if that's like because it's my kid brain or what, but like I miss Pizza Hut and I can't get it delivered to me, and I don't know where there is
It's
one near
probably
me to
still
go pick
good.
it up.
Remember Little Caesars?
No, I never had Little Caesars.
Pizza, pizza,
One in Belmar.
What?
There's one in Belmar.
pizza,
That's
pizza.
too far. It needs to be. Somebody needs
Pizza
to bring
Hut's
it to
still
me
around
nowadays.
though. Pizza Hut's still.
They are, but there's like 2 of them, and
They
none of
used
them
to
are
have
near
the
me.
hey, if you read a book, you get free pizza thing.
That's
But your
pretty cool.
parents were the one that signed off on it. My dad would be like, "Yeah, you read all the books, right? You read them.
That's
Sign it."
That's pretty great.
There's
Like,
actually
and then he eats all of it.
there's actually a Pizza Hut by me right off of Route 9 in Howell.
All right, when are you here next?
We're going.
Are you here Thursday
We're
next
doing
week?
the podcast from Pizza Hut.
Oh my God, that'd be pretty great actually.
You know, they get no business, so they would probably welcome it.
And it would be nice and quiet, nice and empty. They don't do like, I think I know the answer to this. They don't do beer or anything, right? Like they don't
No.
Because we just bring our own. If that, they probably would let us, right?
Well,
Probably.
let's find out. Pizza
It's
Hut,
part of the
bring your own
sponsorship.
beer.
Yeah.
I used to go to these arcades, is my point, that I would just clean up on making friends. You know?
Wait.
And, okay, I'm going through what?
Okay.
Yep.
You went to an arcade and you made friends at an arcade
Oh, yeah,
in a casino.
for sure. Because they're playing games, and I'm, like, going over to them, like,
Yeah.
like, you got to do this. Like, we're having so much fun. Let's go play the snowboard one.
Play whack-a-mole 2-player.
I love that skateboard one where you actually skateboard.
I never. You
It's so
clearly
good.
spent a lot of time in
So
casino
much
arcades.
time,
I
so
don't know
much
any of these
time.
games.
And as you get to be adult,
Yeah.
it's harder. It's harder to like to
Yeah.
go out of your way and go up to random people and be like,
Yeah.
you know, if some like random person's. That's why I have this dream of like buying a bunch of stuff to fix people's cars that are stuck on the side of the road. Part of it, like, probably is part of like my. I want to find some friends. I
Okay.
just want to like, hey, like. You're captive. You're stuck on the side of a road. I got an air pump. Let's do this thing.
I've got a basement. Do you want to check it out? Or
You want to check it out?
This is how
I
most
just built
horror
a
movies
dungeon.
start.
yeah. And we're gonna be like, oh, he was so normal. We didn't see it coming at
But
all.
it's so hard, and I think like the commercial basically to wrap it up is like getting to that point of like
Yes. I forgot where this
that
started.
a lot of times it's not awkward. It's not an awkward interaction to say like let's grab a beer, let's just hang
Yeah.
out. So like that's how a lot of relationships start. It's really nice.
Yeah, I think that's very true, and that it definitely is a good place to start too, because it's like you're not like. So I think if you were to walk up to not like a stranger, but like let's say a coworker that you've like interacted with a lot, but you haven't sort of crossed that threshold of just like we talk during work hours.
Mm-hmm.
To walk up to them and be like, "Do you want to go grab dinner?" is like kind of a weird thing to say.
you
Like
can't say dinner.
you can if it's gonna be 3 people.
You want to go to a jazz club tonight or whatever? Like let's go, right?
Do you want to go roller
This is
skating or
weird.
something? Like, do you want to just go like see a movie together?
Do you
Maybe?
want to go roller skating?
But like, okay,
Hey, there's like a roller skating rink in the town that I grew up in. Do you want me to drive you down there and like we'll go roller skating together? Do
quick question: do you prefer ice skating or roller skating? Because I could do both.
you want to grab some Italian ice? I only like Ritas.
Yeah, and there's only one, and it's in my basement. So
Every time we do the podcast, I think I say something creepy. I listen back to it.
it's not that
It's
creepy.
not creepy.
Yeah, to most people.
It
To-
sounds better on tape.
Yeah. To the guy who said it, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So I think you're right. You can't ask somebody out. Like you can't be like, hey, we work together all the time. We've never spent time outside of the office. You want to go grab dinner? Unless it's more than one person, like we did, like you, me, and Steve, and that made sense. I didn't think you were gonna kidnap me. I didn't think you were gonna, because Steve was there, or he.
No, yeah.
I knew he was gonna be there, and so it
He,
was like
he
it
would
wasn't.
try to stop me.
Yeah, he would. He would
He'd
fight.
try.
I think.
He would
I hope.
try.
So like that's not weird. So that's what's nice about that. It's like, do you want to go grab a coffee? Is kind
You
of the
can do
same.
you can do coffee.
But the problem
It's
I
just
think.
coffee. They don't have enough marketing dollars for a Super Bowl ad.
No, I don't.
Coffee
so
lobbies.
I think I disagree. Like with a coffee, you're never getting a coffee. In my experience, you're never getting a coffee when you have time to kill. You're getting a coffee because you need it or you want it,
Or you're getting fired.
or you're getting fired, and then you need to get back to what you're doing. Versus a beer, it's like a beer is associated with the end of your day. You sort of just have like this
Right.
unlimited
Yeah.
time until I need to go home.
That's a great
And-
point. You're never going to go out and get a coffee and be like, you know what, I want another coffee. Let's get
Yeah.
another coffee right
Yep.
now.
And like
Yeah.
that event can't evolve into like being out all day or all night versus
Yeah.
like having a beer and being like, this seems like a pretty great friendship, or like there's
Yep.
something here. Let's have another, and then let's go to the next place.
That's right. I think I said that to you the first time we hung out. I said, this seems like a pretty great friendship.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's been
know?
very true ever since. And that all started with going to the best beer bar in at least our area, if not New Jersey.
Yeah.
And so I think to your point, beer is a pretty cool
It's a pretty cool thing.
thing.
I also, this is pretty random, but the I think I got a Veggie Burger, and that's one of my...
By mistake?
No.
Oh.
If you go to somewhere like that place that is like...
Maloney's?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess gastropub is the right word. Like, they kind of have fancy versions. It's still like they got bar food, except instead of like the pig and whistle burger, like an Irish, no offense, just like an Irish pub kind of standard fare burger, you're getting like the burger with the brioche bun and the fancy onion frizzles and stuff.
Yeah.
At a place like that, the veggie burger is pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reasonable option.
I would definitely be okay with getting like a veggie burger by mistake from most places, I think. I feel like this is going in the opposite direction, but like I had an Impossible Whopper or Impossible...
They bleed.
What is that called? Yeah, Whopper.
Impossible Burger.
And I did the thing where like when they were trying to like promote it, they said you could get one of those and like a regular one from Burger King, and it was like $5 for two. I was like, that's a great deal. Even if I throw one of them out and eat the other one, like it's a meal and like you get a bunch of stuff. I ate both, and I don't remember which one. I couldn't tell you if I knew the difference between the two. And so I'm saying that, but there's like a part of me that wants to say, while I think it tasted really good, I don't think I trust Burger King to be the one to introduce me to like a meatless burger, because like if you remember back how many years when people found out that Taco Bell was like pumping their meat full of water, and so it made it feel like the beef was like, basically what was happening was like they could serve you what felt like a full taco's worth of beef, but that beef had like 10% of water in it, so it was like 10% less
thing?
meat. Yeah. And so they got caught doing that, and so it was like they were saving their margins were probably huge in that. They're saving 10% every time that they made a taco. 10% of the meat they were giving you wasn't actually meat. It was like hydrated beef, basically. And so my point is that nobody probably really truly knows what's like in any of these fast food burgers or anything. They taste so good, and that's all that we care about.
Recipes were lost.
Well, yeah, they're somewhere in a vault, and only the king and the clown know where they are, and Wendy. But they never fresh, never frozen. But they talk. I'm getting way off track. So they talk about this Impossible Burger, and it's made out of nothing but plants, and it's everything. Like my curiosity is like, do we know how much beef the Whopper is actually made out of? Is this why they taste so similar? Is it because
do they taste similar because it's actually not beef?
Is it because like 50% of the Whopper is already not beef, and it's like some other filler that's vegetable or vegetarian based, and all they had to do was like remove the remaining 50%? So anyway, that's my curiosity.
And don't call it the Impossible Burger. It's not impossible. You just did it.
That's what I'm saying.
You just made it.
That's what I'm trying to say. That sounded very much like a Jerry Seinfeld joke.
Okay, so what I have here in front of me is a beer that I've had on the show before, had in my fridge. This is kind of fitting the theme tonight of random beer that was in my fridge. I actually like this a lot, though. You've seen me drink it because I've been drinking it a lot.
Yeah.
Blizzard of Hops, Trogs, 6.4% alcohol. It is a hoppy winter IPA, and we talked about whether that makes any sense, but it's just like a good all-around IPA. I think actually like I could drink this probably instead of all day IPA. It's just normal.
Really?
It's just a normal beer. All day IPA, by the way, is kind of like that's my.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is like different breweries, similar style of beer, or just they're not similar, but you would prefer this maybe over that.
Yeah. I think I could easily see this just being the beer I drink.
So like Founders is like if you're gonna drink it, you're gonna drink that all day.
Yeah.
This is like if you're gonna drink it, you could drink it any day.
Yeah.
So this is your any day IPA.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, because it's not a session. It's not low alcohol.
Yeah.
So, but it is like it's just middle. It's middling on everything. It's great.
Is that Johnny Sweet Spot?
Yeah, this is Johnny Sweet Spot. 6.4%.
All right.
Standard IPA.
I'll take
really
that.
Good.
I'll take that. Well, I'll wait.
What did you have? Oh, Bud Light.
So this one's called a Bud Light by Anheuser-Busch.
I could drink these all day.
Yeah, all day lager.
Well, let me drink my thing so you can open your thing,
hurry
so I can tell you what I did in the Airstream.
Oh God.
Recurring segment called "What Did
That's it.
John Do in the Airstream?"
There it is. Tell me. Well,
Then I have to tell you what I'm doing this weekend, because I
All
think
right.
that actually is relevant.
I want to tell you about. So I texted you about this, but I want to tell you about a new show that I want to do.
I saw this text.
It's
while I was
such a good
snowblowing.
idea.
Snow blowing? Oof.
Yeah. Who doesn't have their phone on them while they're
John and Colin, these are two guys whose snowblowers never go off rabbit mode.
Oh,
Never.
never.
Mine actually is stuck. It only goes on rabbit mode.
It's broken on
yeah.
the best mode.
Mm-hmm.
I can live with that.
It's not stuck.
Okay, welcome to BeerBroadcast. 3, 2, 1. Whoops. Okay.
I'm so happy that there might be like an Instagram snippet that features you doing something stupid.
No. Okay, welcome to Good Now Great episode 10.
Wait.
Too late. You don't even have a... Oh, you do have a bottle. Okay. Great. Okay. So tell us about the Airstream,
Yeah. So we went
and I'll tell you about my show.
this week. Oh yeah, no. Start with your show. Go
No,
ahead.
you go.
We
I'm
went,
gonna need a lot of
We
time.
went this weekend.
That might not be
It was
true.
Valentine's Day. This previous weekend. So what I did is I took 2 of the kids, the older 2.
Mm-hmm.
I took them into the Airstream and I brought them out to Shawnee Mountain in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. And the goal was to go skiing, which we did. So we went out there. We went to this brewery, which I'm going to give you a beer of in a minute.
That's cool. I didn't know that was from there.
Yeah, really good. And
Did you try this beer already? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And they let me do a mixed 4-pack on the way out too, which is really cool.
Nice.
So we went there. We hung out. We like sat in the Airstream. We hiked. We did everything good. We went skiing. They did like a ski. They were so fucking bad at skiing. I don't know how to say
Is this the
it
first time they
in
went?
any better way than that. They were no.
Oh,
It's the second time they went.
Okay.
One of them fell. I'm so sorry to even say it, but one of them fell off. You know, it's like very. Have you been skiing?
Yeah. Well,
It's
I've been
hard.
snowboarding, not skiing, but same.
I snowboard.
Yeah.
We could go.
We should go. I haven't been in
go.
15 years, so
So
I can figure it out.
You know how like it's hard to get off the ski lift? That's like a classic skiing thing. Is that it's hard
It's
to get
scary.
off.
It can be
Yeah,
scary.
it can be scary.
Yeah.
One of them somehow fell off the ski lift, like before it was at the end thing, and basically like collapsed under
Just
where
ran
people were
over.
getting off, and people were continuing to get off over them, and I was just like, I've never seen it like this.
I mean, that is everybody's worst nightmare, though.
It was,
That's like,
and it was. I slowed down the machine. I had them slow down the machine, and it's still they collapsed under it, and it was like, oh
I want to take a guess, but I don't.
yeah, you're right. You nailed it.
Starts with an R?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You know what? She's going to take after you. She's going to be very, very...
She loves computers. She just
that's okay.
yeah.
Because you do too. But you didn't get run over by... I guess you didn't get
No.
run over by a chairlift, but...
I did. I'm not very good at sports, but for some reason when I went skiing the first time, it just like instantly clicked. It made sense. And actually the day after I went skiing, I was like, I want to do the snowboard. And then I got the second time I ever did winter sports, I was like 9 years old, got on a snowboard and like had it that day. No problem.
Did you skateboard when you were younger?
Not really.
So it's not like you carried that over into snowboarding and that made sense to you?
No.
Huh.
I fell. It's impossible to learn to snowboard without a day of falling.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. I've brought adults, and it was like, many of them have never tried again because it just sucked that much.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have a history of like, so for me, I had a history of skateboarding all the time. Like I couldn't do tricks. I didn't do ramps or anything. I just had good balance. for some, like I grew up in a sports family. Like we all played traveling soccer. I played whatever sport, name it, and I've played it. We had a garage that looked like a sporting goods store, and that was just the way we were. And so skateboarding was one of those things. Like we had a pretty decent hill that we would ride down on longboards, and so like balance was always there. For some reason, we all got into like these I can't remember what they're called. I guess they're called balance boards. It's like, imagine like a 2-foot long PVC pipe, and then take just like a plank of wood and just like balance on that.
Inside you use it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
those.
we started doing that because a family friend of ours had a boat and had a wakeboard, and so we'd go out wakeboarding with him. And
do you
so
do the tricks? Do you do the whole spin the board?
No, he did. He did backflips and stuff. He was really good.
No, I mean on the balance board.
Oh, no. I mean, you can't do tricks on it.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Well, I can't. But I've never seen somebody do it either. So that's I'm actually kind of curious to check that out. But he sort of introduced us to that because he was trying to get his balance better because he did real tricks wakeboarding. Like he did backflips. He did like spins and stuff. Like it was pretty cool to see. And so we're like, yeah, we'll do that too. Like we all made our own. We got PVC pipe. We got plywood, screwed some boards together and made our own things. And so anyway, so I had that background growing up, skateboarding, wakeboarding. So just like balance in general was just like a thing that I associated with like certain sports or whatever you want to call them. And so when I first went snowboarding, the only thing that was scary to me was that it's just like this straight downhill. Even if it's like a green, it looks straight down because the first time you're up there and you're looking down, you're just like, holy shit, this is terrifying. And then my friends that I went with, it was a school trip, they all did a black diamond right away. They had skied or snowboarded their entire lives.
Oh, okay.
And this was my first time sort of translating this whole like balancing thing to snowboarding. And so on this trip, when you go, because it's a school trip, you have to get paired with somebody. I got paired with a kid who also wasn't good at snowboarding. And the first thing he did when he went down this hill was he turned his back to the downhill part.
Never
and
turn your back to the hill.
The
I mean,
back,
I do on a snowboard now, but you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so the backside of his snowboard caught an edge and basically just like smacked his body down.
Because then you're not only falling, you're falling farther.
Well,
you're
in
falling
his
that
case,
distance, right?
In his case, it was like all of this leverage that was created because like the board just like stuck into the snow and then just like flung his body around with the momentum that he had from getting stuck.
Yeah.
Just got smacked into the ground.
I think that's what's so frustrating to new snowboarders is like everything's going fine and then it's just like boom, you're done.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Like I was so ready. I was like, this is it. I'm on a green. I'm with somebody else who doesn't know what they're doing. Like we're going to fall. We're going to look stupid. We're going to figure it out. I can balance. I just have to figure out
this person got hurt.
Turns and stuff. And I hadn't even gone down the hill yet. I was standing up. I was like, you go first because you're wearing a helmet. And he got a concussion. His like the inside of his mouth was bloody. I had to go sit in a trailer and tell the people what happened. Like I had to like write like an incident report and everything. They're like, all right, get out of here. Go back and have fun. I was like, really? I'm going to go to the arcade and like, you know, I'm never going on this hill again. And so that was my first experience snowboarding. The second time I went, I actually had a really great time. I was a little bit older and like my balance had gotten even better. And I wasn't with like dumb people who didn't know how to snowboard and who got hurt right away. And it was almost exactly the same feeling as riding a wakeboard in the river behind a boat as snowboarding felt. And so I was like, this is really cool. So anyway, super long story, but like we should definitely go snowboarding and I'll have to get a rental.
I remember I had trouble for a couple hours and then someone rode past me. They saw me fall and they were like, it's all about the hips. They said that as they went by and I was like, let me just try that. And like, it really is all about the hips.
And so that little tip was just enough for you.
It was enough. It was just like, I stood up and I remember like standing up and just being like, oh, like it's so easy.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're small, especially, when you're putting a lot of effort into something like toe edge or heel edge, it is a lot of effort on your legs to do that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can feel like, well, if it's everything, everyone looks like it's so effortless. If it's this much effort, I must be doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And like, no, you're not. You're doing it right. It's just hard.
You just have to learn like the right motion, and then but then
so somebody said it's all in the hips, and it's like, well, my hips don't like to do that, and it's like, well, that's snowboarding, buddy. That's how it goes.
Yeah. But once you learn it, and like once you
it feels great.
Like there's no better feeling. And I've only been snowboarding 2 or 3 times, and I had that little bit of that cool feeling where like once you get it, and the whole run is like you didn't fall, you didn't stop, you got all the way to the bottom, and nothing bad happened. You're like, oh, this is why people do this.
When you're the first time that, and this is very much like on a skateboard, the first time that you can think of the skateboard, when you first start skateboarding, you're thinking about like, let me just point the front of this board toward where I want to go.
Right.
And then at some point, you feel the board as a unit that can kind of pivot underneath you. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you feel that, oh, I want to go that way. And now, in order to go that way, the back actually has to kick out, to one direction. And like, once you feel that, that's the shit.
Well, I used to ride a longboard because I used to work at a restaurant that was like just up the hill and like down the street from where I grew up. And so I'd ride my skateboard up the hill, and that was never easy. Getting up the hill was never easy, but I did it for the ride down, for the ride back. You want to do our trade after this? Wait, what time?
I don't know what to do.
Let's do our trade next.
So should I open this or no?
No.
No?
No. Let's do our trade.
Well, I want to hear the rest of your story.
Okay, so all I was gonna say is I used to ride the skateboard up because that meant I could then take the hill down. And I got to this point where I was doing it every single day. I did it for like a year or 2 straight, and that was my way of getting to and from work. And it got to this point where like I'd hit like a stick or a rock and I wouldn't fall because I was ready for it. I had such good sort of like handle on my balance, and then like it became so comfortable that like I didn't just like put my foot down and stop or like slide to a stop or something. Like I would like lift it up and like use the tail to like sort of like slide the tail to a stop. And that was when I was like, whoa, I'm like kind of figuring this out. I couldn't do anything else. Like, don't get me wrong.
Amazing. Like,
it was cool though.
I think a lot of times when you learn to do something new, you think like, oh, it's so precise, and you need to be just in this perfect zone to get it right.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can anyone do any kind of trick or anything when like it needs to be in this perfect zone? But then you realize over time that like you're using your balance to essentially overcome things that should not be possible. And when you're first starting, you don't realize that that's the key.
Yeah.
Or like your body can't do it yet, so it seems just so hard.
It's like anything that
like anything. Yeah.
It's anything that's like skillful, like requires skill,
or like design, like or coding. Like how can anyone remember all that stuff?
Right.
And it's like you remember like one thing at a time, and then eventually you realize that you don't have to remember any of it because you can just look it up.
Yeah, that's true. But like that is true, but then at the same time, like whenever we're working on BeerBroadcast, I'm like, hey, how do I do this thing? And you're like, like you're working through your brain and you're like, oh, it's this one. And then if it's off, if I'm like, that didn't work, you're like, oh, nope, that was wrong. That's like, you have it all sort of in this like Rolodex in your head. Yeah. Which is really.
But you can't start there.
No, exactly.
And anyone like starting on anything, it's like you can't start.
The reason you can remember
those things.
That's
why kids get so frustrated starting to learn stuff is because they're just like, well, like I thought I was going to get on this mountain and like freaking backflip off the ski lift and fly down the mountain. It's like, what happened?
You know what's pretty amazing is that like, okay, so like as parents, like you seeing your kids grow up and me seeing mine right now growing up and like going through like potty training and stuff like that. Something so simple like learning how to pull your own pants up is like hard. It's amazing how you literally start at zero. Like I don't realize this as an adult. I think a lot of people don't realize like all of the things that you've acquired. Like just being able to like move my hands without like hitting things, like falling over. It's like a skill that's been acquired over years.
Totally.
Learning how to pull your pants up and like.
It's like it gets stuck on my butt. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, well, like, what do you think you should do? Like, I don't know. So I'm going to cry and get upset about it. And then I need your help. And it's like, you don't recognize that all of these really, really, really basic skills had to be learned. And then you're like, oh, I also need to learn how to like get off a ski lift and not get run over by it, or then ride down this mountain and not fall down. Like there's so many individual skills that contribute to that sort of larger skill of just skiing down a hill. And it's really amazing. It's kind of cool to see, like, to be able to see that and like watch like a kid kind of go through that.
Yeah, to realize all those things.
Yeah, and then you like kind of puts in perspective like, oh, okay, it's okay if I don't remember this because like I'm not a computer. Like I can't store all that stuff in my brain. Although with experience you kind of can, because in your case you create like a system in your head of like, okay, if I'm asking you like how do I make that email template show up so I can see how it looks? I don't want to try that. You're not making that look very good. You kind of go through this Rolodex in your head of like a system that makes sense to you that you've learned through experience. Is that one getting tossed? Can I smell it? Let's see.
It's bad. It's bad.
Is it a sour? I don't want it.
You know where I'm thinking about going this weekend?
Where?
So Kate's mom has offered to watch the children's. Most of them, at least.
Smells all right. Did you taste it or smell
so
it? Did you taste it or smell it?
I tasted it. What I gotta say about it is, it's been trapped in my refrigerator for a bit.
Well, there you go.
So we are going to maybe 3, 2, 1.
Cool.
So we are going to go away.
Okay.
Because I'm sick of being at home and being
This
locked
weekend?
inside. Yep.
Okay.
And I think what we're going to do, I originally wanted to take the RV somewhere, but I'm pretty sure it's like covered in snow.
Probably.
Because I moved it to a storage unit.
Oh.
Yeah. So pretty sure it's still covered in snow.
Yeah. Okay. Is it an indoor storage unit?
No, it's an outdoor storage unit.
Okay.
But it's in South Jersey, so they apparently don't have snow down there. Whatever.
Okay.
So we are thinking about going and renting a room at the Dogfish Inn, which is a hotel owned by Dogfish Head.
I would think, yeah.
And it is in Lewes, Delaware, which is just right over the Cape May Lewes ferry, which is a great. Have you been on a?
No.
It's a ferry that runs from Cape May to Lewes, Delaware, just right across the.
Okay.
I guess like river or bay channel, whatever the
body of
is
water
down there. So you go across that. I guess it's the Chesapeake Bay. Someone's gonna tell me that's wrong. It's fine. So you go across that, and you're into Lewes, and then right near there is the brewery.
Okay.
So they've created this this hotel where you can stay at, and I think it comes with some reservations at their restaurant, brewery, and yeah, it's just gonna be like cool.
Just
John, this is a thing, by the way.
John's chair just sank. For anybody who's not watching this, John's chair just sank almost to the ground, and that was what the laughter was about.
This is the thing, that there are breweries that are starting to have, like either inns or or restaurants more typically. But Stone, I think, also has like a resort, a Stone resort that you can go stay at that is like all inclusive and comes with like beer and.
That's interesting. It's like a weird addition to like. I don't know. It doesn't totally add up to me as like that is the logical thing for a brewery to do. I guess if you want people to like stay there and drink your beer, and if you drink beer, you should stay where you are because it's like safer and everything. Like, sure, like keep the people confined to like a safe space.
It's not at the brewery.
But their beer is there.
No.
Okay. Do they have like a shuttle that brings you to their brewery?
No.
But okay, I'm trying.
No, there's not. You can bike to it, I think, but it's kind of far.
All right.
So I'll give you an update next week about that.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about it.
So Colin has given me a beer. This is a Fiddlehead Brewing double IPA. It is 1 pint of IPA. It's 8.2% alcohol. And it is from Shelburne, Vermont. Now, it's made by Second Fiddle.
I think you said that.
Yeah.
Oh no,
did
Fiddlehead.
Sorry. It's made by Fiddlehead. It is called Second Fiddle.
Yes. Yep.
I know this beer. I've never had it.
Okay.
But
Cool.
I'm pretty excited.
All right.
Yeah. Do you know how aluminum cans are made?
I guess I will take a stab at the answer. Well, I know that there's plastic inside, and I know that that's because things sit on shelves for a certain amount of time, and you don't want your liquids touching bare metal because then that bleeds into your liquid, and then that could get you sick or kill you. I don't know how they're made, but I'm guessing it's some type of sheet that's rolled. And no,
I don't think so.
Well, then I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure that they are essentially stamped over a form.
Oh, that would make sense.
So there's a form that is this shape,
Yeah.
and then
That looks right,
they're
yeah.
I think it's called drawn. They're drawn over the form, very thin aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like one piece that's like this, one piece that's a little bit bigger, and it essentially forces aluminum, and the aluminum has nothing else to do but bend, and then it bends into this shape, and then they put the cap on.
All right. So, quick question: how do you get this top? If let's say there's like a cylinder that gets pushed into this, and that obviously has to come out at some point. Is it then shaped afterwards by like a
Yeah,
wheel?
it's
do
a
you
great
think?
question. There are several steps that happen.
Okay, so
in
that's
the forming
the first
process,
step is
yeah.
just like a cylindrical shape
Yep.
gets pushed in,
And just makes exactly a tube.
and then the top gets
Then
sort
there's
of
one that
crimped.
trims it up. Then there's
Yeah.
one that pulls it in.
Gotcha. Okay. Real quick, I never said this. I've already had this on the show, but I'd love to say it again because I really like this brewery. Left Hand Brewing Company. This is a milk stout. 12 ounces. It is a 6%.
Shout out to my mom.
She likes this one,
Bloop,
right?
bloop, bloop, bloop.
This is a stout, and I am a big fan of it because I am a lefty, and so Left Hand Brewing really
You
speaks
feel
to me.
seen.
I feel like they've
Yeah.
seen me, and here's the best part: thumbs on the
Yeah,
left hand side.
I
So
get it.
all the righties, all you losers, get out of here. This is lefty town. So anyway,
All this left hand shit, left hand scissors, left hand everything. At what point does the left hand stuff overtake the right hand stuff, and then right hand's not even important anymore?
I mean, right now I feel discriminated against because
It is bad.
something even like as far as like an iPhone goes, like everything's.
Oh, swipe right, swipe left to right. Right? That's hard. That's probably
Well, just like when you open up like
not
like
as
an
easy
app,
to do.
the menu is not within reach of my left thumb because they account for like the radius that your finger can move from like here to here as a righty. There's a lot of times applications or probably applications or just in general anything on a phone accounts for sort of that sort of like the prime righty thumb location. So within that it's not a radius, it's like a quarter radius, I guess, of like where your thumb can fit. So
Yep, that
here,
makes sense.
so let me demonstrate. So as a lefty,
Right,
let's say this is the
Oh,
mid-
you're gonna have trouble getting over to that bottom.
yeah. So as a lefty, let's say the middle is there. This is what I can reach.
How are we gonna get there though? Sorry.
John's gonna knock the table over during my demonstration. So and then as a righty, I can get all this. So there's like a lot of space. It's not a big gap, but a lot of these apps sort of account for what a righty's thumb is gonna do, and not what a lefty's thumb is gonna do. The ones that are very inclusive will have an option in the settings to switch to a lefty configuration.
That's a thing?
Not very frequently, but
Do you use your phone with your left hand?
I do. Was that strange?
I just feel like every left-handed person has like the couple things they let themselves do righty, and you should just do the phone righty.
Oh, so like a mouse, like a computer mouse, is for righties only.
What do you do?
I'm a righty. I use a righty.
You can switch a mouse to the left hand, right?
I play the drums righty. I play baseball and hockey and anything that's like stick-based sport righty. I kick righty actually, which is strange.
I do all those things righty too.
Are you a righty?
Yeah.
Whoa. Do you throw a baseball righty?
Yeah.
It's because you're a righty.
I try to like let my left hand kind of just droop.
Yeah.
You know, just let it.
It's basically useless. Somebody could chop it off
I'm
tomorrow.
hoping it'll just atrophy and fall off.
If somebody chops it off tomorrow, it would take you like a day to notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be like, whoa, where?
It's like when the sun stops.
I don't
You
feel.
know, I would just be like,
I feel a little bit
something's
more
wrong over here.
aerodynamic
Yeah.
now. There's no breeze anymore. Okay. If we don't
got-
have what?
I got one more thing.
I have a really big topic I want to talk about, but it's not going to take as much time.
Okay, go ahead. What do you got?
Well, what's your thing?
No, go.
I want to hear your thing. Your thing might be interesting.
Go.
It's okay. My thing might be a little stupid.
Now you're feeling dumb.
I don't want to commit to it yet. Let me hear your thing, and then we'll decide.
I just wanted to talk about some of the changes we've been making to the website.
Let's do it. That's great.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
I think that if you're not a user of the website, these might be one of the less interesting segments.
Sure.
But hey, if you are, these might be the more interesting segments.
We
So who
tucked it in the
knows?
back.
If you made it this far, wait, you're supposed to be drinking this whole time, right? They're supposed to be drinking.
We never asked
We
them
never
to.
told them.
I
Okay.
forgot to tell them.
Have a drink now. You know,
You know who's going to be drinking
treat
with us?
yourself.
Who's going to drink with us?
Norm,
No.
Kate,
No.
Neil Patrick Harris.
I mean, if he does, like and subscribe. No. His name's now leaving my head.
Stilly?
Chug.
Oh, Mark Dill?
Than't you, Mark.
Oh yeah,
Dill.
he's being yeah.
You know what would be cool if he chugs a beer to our show?
To us, yeah. If you are
I guess.
listening, yeah, I was just thinking about like we've been making some changes to the website, and I think probably a big part of it is we spend a lot of time onboarding and paying attention to the onboarding of breweries.
Yeah.
Because that's who we want to use the site.
Yeah. Right
and
now.
probably less time onboarding customers.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that we don't have a bunch of people using the site. I mean, there's like a lot of them.
Yeah. There's a lot.
But we've been doing some work to try to make it easier to kind of onboard yourself to BeerBroadcast if you did not come there for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, like right now, a lot of people come because they want to buy like something from a certain release. So they come, they sign up for an account, they buy the beer.
Yep.
We want to make it more normal for you to show up to BeerBroadcast, sign up for an account just to sign up for it to get notifications of future beer.
Yep.
Or to get notifications of like what events are happening at the breweries that you like.
Mm-hmm.
So very soon in the future, you're going to be able to go to the site. You're going to be able to essentially put in like your zip code and create like an onboarding profile where you say like, here are the breweries that I like. And then we will kind of like automatically send you some type of like a digest email, for example, that has beer near you that you might like.
Yep.
As it comes out. So
yeah, I mean,
it's pretty exciting because like we're moving out of just like here's a bunch of individual brewery sites to like here's a community for beer, kind of built around wherever the customer is.
I still really want to, and it's not that we've stopped thinking about it. There's just so much to do that it's hard to like, do everything. We have to focus on one thing at a time. But I still really believe in the home brewer space, and I think that
When's
brings.
our guest coming on?
Well, we have to set it up. We've got to figure that out. But I think the home brewer space is really interesting. I think we need to get something for that community up and running that they can benefit from. And then I think there's sort of like this natural sort of organic growth that comes from that. Like we've always been trying to build something that's for the craft beer space. It's never been like, what do we build that's like the most profitable for us? Like we just appreciate this space. We want to see this space keep thriving. We think there's things that can be done better, and we're trying to be the ones that do that. Mm-hmm. And so that's like where my mind is at, is like, yes, we'll do all the things that you just mentioned, and I think those are all great. We need to. It's hard too. Like aside from like the homebrewer stuff, like regular breweries, it's like this like chicken and egg sort of situation. It's like we can have all the people, but if we can't show them breweries that have releases, then there's not really a whole lot of compelling activity or things for them to come to the site and see. So if we have a lot of breweries but we don't have people, we can't push anybody to the brewery's releases and get them sales. And so we're getting to this really interesting point where we have lots of people and we're starting to get more breweries, and we can really do interesting things with both of those sides, and we can really start kind of like pushing them towards each other more than what might just sort of happen like naturally, or like I discovered Source and I'm like, I love Source and I want to subscribe. It's like I didn't discover Source before I signed up to BeerBroadcast, and then this thing came through and I was like, oh look, they have a Milkshake IPA, and I love Milkshake IPAs, and so now
There's
I'm going to be a
still so
fan.
much we can do. I mean, like,
It's
for example,
it's endless.
the old Heights release, it comes out. A bunch of people in Monmouth County might find out about it, right? But they've never heard of Old Heights because Old Heights is not like in their face. It's not
local, like,
a
as
Monmouth
local.
County brewery.
Yeah.
But this place is a half hour away from you people.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's got a really cool
if I
outdoor
tell you
space.
about it, and maybe we add something to this digest email that says something like 30 minutes from your house, or like something like that, to tell you about how far you'd have to go to get this beer.
Yep.
That's super compelling.
Yeah. And then on top of that, like the shipping thing, like that's just a hard
Shipping.
That's just a hard thing to crack, but that's something that we should do, and I want to do. And like I was looking into like some of the laws around like the in-state shipping, and there's a lot of stuff, but it's nothing that we can't figure out, and that people
We're doing
aren't-
it.
Yeah, oh absolutely, but people aren't. There's other people doing it too, and like they figured it out. Like we just have to invest the time in it. There's so much we want to do, and that's I think the bottom line is like there's just so much to do, and that's one of the things we want to do too.
What did I give you here?
Yeah, so let me talk about this a little bit. So this is from Bovino's Brewery. This is called Better Days Ahead.
We hope so, right? You know.
Yeah, we're looking for it. If downtown can open,
Hey.
it gets warm, and then coronavirus goes away.
CEO of Snapple, if you're listening,
You
on
got
the side
thought-
of the new containers it says now plastic bottle. That's not Better Days Ahead, Snapple. Bring back the glass bottle. Right? Okay. Is that related to this?
Fuck
or?
the planet.
Yeah. Like, don't advertise plastic bottle as if I'm going to be into that. I want
Or as
glass
though you
bottle.
can't tell that you're already holding a plastic bottle.
I think to some people, like, the glass feels less... The glass feels more wasteful because it's, like, harder and more permanent. But, like,
Yeah,
glass can be recycled.
just like plastic.
Plastic in most cases go straight into a landfill because people don't recycle it.
Interesting point.
Nobody looks at their glass bottle like, oh, let me look at this and see if it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You got yourself.
Like, no,
I
you
love
just
how
take
you
the glass
committed
and you
to
put
the
it
bit and realized how stupid it was, and then kind of faded yourself out of it.
And then we all just waited for you to figure out where to
He's
go.
gonna put the glass bottle down. Don't worry.
The silence was just deafening.
If you're from a plastic company, turn off this podcast.
Yeah, plastic
Because you're not gonna
companies,
like what you're about to hear.
bunch of bitches. All right, this is 6.4 ABV, 16 fluid ounces.
It was a great restaurant. They had a blood orange.
That's
IPA.
not true.
What? What are we doing?
So this Old Heights is. Oh, come on, guys, you didn't
1
do-
pint, 16 ounces.
So this says it's also 16 ounces.
I gotta say, did you feel how toit that one was when you squeezed it? It was.
I love where you're going, where you're trying to
was
go with
toy.
these, but I just don't understand why these are different heights.
This is Old Heights, and this is New Heights.
All right, so next segment. John is leaving the podcast, and this is just me. So okay, I wanted to round this off with an idea that I shared with you. So we just a couple weeks ago, and I know Christian's been on the podcast because I actually just heard it too recently. We just were guests on a ghost podcast a couple weeks ago with
Ooh.
yeah.
This is how you make friends.
This is how you lose friends. So
I was trying to set the scene. Go.
it was the ambiance. So we were on a ghost podcast with Chris and
Paige.
Chris has been one of the sound engineers that we've worked with at a shared universe.
He's no Chris Chin.
Well,
nah, Chris is dope. Don't
Chris
downplay
is,
it.
I was.
You're 0 for 3 right now. I think that's 3 and you're out, bud. No, Chris and Christian are both
They're both great.
awesome. But so Chris and Christian, I think you've been on the podcast. I think I heard you on one of the episodes
Yeah,
of the
Ghosted.
Yeah.
You seen a ghost?
Yes, I have. In my house.
All right. So here's the thing. I'm a big time skeptic, but I used to be a big time believer. And so that's why I was excited to go on their show, because I wanted to hear other people get excited about it. I wanted to get excited about it again because it's just been like for like years. Like I watched all the shows. I like hardcore believed in it. And then for some reason I just stopped believing. And so being on their show again, like sparked this sort of like desire in me to.
It brought back an interest that you thought was dormant.
Yeah, but not in the way that you'd think. So I texted John earlier today and I was like, I want to do a YouTube series where we go to like the most haunted places in New Jersey and just get zero feedback. Like just
The
go
opposite of all popular ghost shows.
Yeah, so I was
You're just
watching
like, nah, there's no ghosts here. Let's go home.
So I was watching this new ghost show and I think it's called Ghost Brothers. And the show is about, it's basically like any other ghost show. Like there's these 3 guys and they go to the most haunted places in the country, and they have experiences and they have all the equipment and all this stuff. And so I was watching it and I was like, I'm not scared. I'm not like moved by it.
Yeah.
Which is what I used to love about those shows. And so what I'd love to do is I'd love to do like a YouTube series or something where it could just be me. I'll go by myself. Somebody tells me like the most haunted place they can find, they can think of. I'll go at midnight. I'll go at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I'll go sleep in the scariest room in the place, and I'll record it. And then I'll leave, and there will be nothing that happens. And it'll be like,
well, going home.
Yeah, it'll be like the idea is like it'll be like stupid, and it'll be like, but what I'm truly hoping happens is that I have a real experience. I want to go, and I want to go in there and be like, that like
fuck.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't do it. I gotta go. I gotta get like I want to go.
This is Colin's second ghost podcast idea. The first one was
yeah, I actually like the first one
to
better.
record Dead Space and then be like,
all right,
do it for an hour and just be like,
Christian, hear me
okay,
out.
good job, ghost.
Hear me out. We record a podcast, except for in these 2 seats is nobody, and so for 45 minutes there's just dead air. Get it? Dead air for 45 minutes.
So it's like a literal ghost hunting podcast.
No. It's not. You're not even hunting.
It's just nothing.
It's this
and then
shot.
at the end you go, good job.
Yeah, like you're here. There's 2 empty seats, and at like 45 minutes at the end, you're like, all right, you guys all set? Yeah. And then it just cuts, and like nobody's talking. There's no conversation. But in like the YouTube and like Spotify
and then he
description,
said you should write a whole description. Yeah.
This description is like today.
The ghost talk
Ghostly,
about
Ghost Bill and Scary Joe.
Oh, so when they
about,
click on it, it's just dead air.
just dead air, yeah. And so for 45 minutes, it's just like
at the
2
beginning.
chairs.
It's like,
You know,
ready?
like that's one of those bizarre ideas that's just nutty enough to actually
Thank
work.
you. But
Like I'm all for it. I think you should do it.
at the end of like the 45 minutes, the chair just goes like that, and like it's the ghost like getting up, and then your voice comes in. You're like, all right, guys, you all set? Done? Okay, and then it like cuts. And so the other thing I was saying was we can like expand on this. We can have vampires on the show. Vampires also can't be recorded on video, so they could be sitting here. There could be a third chair that's also empty.
But the funny thing is with the vampires that there needs to be a lot more movement. So we need to get all like Who Framed Roger Rabbit up in this bitch, and like get like glasses on strings. We gotta move the chair around. We gotta like put magnets under the beer cans, so it looks like there's stuff going on.
The door opens and
We
you
gotta
just see
have
somebody
doors.
throw a cape onto a.
We gotta have the
coat
doors
hanger.
open.
There's a cape that just gets thrown onto a coat hanger,
And
but
then
you don't.
slowly throughout the podcast, just blood just drips onto the table.
Yeah. And then like we could go even further, and we could find like a.
a pizza guy comes in. He goes, "Y'all want garlic knots?"
No! So I think this is something. I think that's.
No, you're onto something.
I think it's funny. I truly do. In the weird out there sense of things, I think that's a funny idea.
I think that
The
could go for like.
co-producer over here.
I think
There we go.
truly though that the idea of a ghost hunting podcast where you go there and you kind of hope to have an experience is really cool. How like there is a
But
show
not
I
hamming
think
it
you
up,
should
right? Like
no
Yeah.
yeah exactly. But
being like
there
totally
is
deadpan about it.
There's something you should check out called BuzzFeed Unsolved, and it's almost essentially that, where it's a believer and a skeptic go, and you'll laugh your ass off because it's literally the dude thinks everything is a ghost while the guy's like, "Ghosty, come and knock my
Yeah.
teeth out." Like,
Oh, this is totally
like
what I want.
egging it on. But I think what could be cool with yours is that you could actually, what if you podcasted from haunted places and you set up 2 mics for you two or whoever would co-host
I'll be
it,
on it.
but a third mic picking up dead air wherever in the building that we just run a long wire to.
Yep.
And the reason we do that is that if you hear a noise, because you were always recording for EVP,
Yep.
you'll hear it in the pod, and then you could either talk about it, you could talk to the ghost, be like you could hold an EVP session.
Yeah.
You could do a session in it. Yeah, that's a cool idea.
I like that.
Is your ghost in your house still there, or was it a one-time?
I think there's a presence. If you listen to the episode, I explained it a little bit further.
I will.
But essentially,
Yeah.
I think it's either my uncle or my dad.
Okay.
But that's why I'm not like angry about it, because
Yeah.
it hasn't fully scared the hell out of me yet. But it did freak me out when it happened.
Would either of them have messed with you in a way that like
Yeah.
they would
well,
try to scare you?
I didn't know my uncle.
Okay.
But from what I've gathered, it probably would have. He probably would have. My dad, 100%.
Messed with you on like jokingly or on purpose?
Jokingly, but I think what he was doing wasn't even like a joke. It was just kind of him checking in. So I do music, and I only started really doing music after my dad passed. That's one of the big regrets I have. But it happened that way. So I'm working late at night in my room, and everyone knows that feeling, eyes on the shoulder, like someone is watching me. But I know for a fact everyone in my house is asleep, and my window blinds are closed. So what the fuck is going on? So I take my headphones off, and then all of a sudden, I swear to God, I heard my bed right next to me compress, like someone sat down. And I looked over, and my bed had a divot in it. And I looked at it where I was like, this is happening, and I'm not hot for it. So I took a deep breath, because I wasn't afraid, but I was freaked, because I was like, what?
Something different was happening.
Something very different was happening.
Yeah.
And I took a deep breath. I faced towards my computer, and I was like, Dad or Uncle John, if that's you, I love you to death. It's great that you're here. It's awesome. But you're currently scaring the shit out of me. I love you. If you want to hear the music I'm working on, I'll play it. And momentary pause. The feeling of being looked at went away, and the bed uncompressed.
That's pretty cool.
And it was one of those things where it was just like, oh, this is wild. Like, that's wild. But here's
a heavy ghost.
Here's the thing about
Yeah, a lot of energy.
Here's the crazy thing about paranormal things that I don't think most people realize, is that I think that there's a lot more paranormal activity in the mundane of life that I don't think people will pick up on. Like, for example, the skeptic in me, because I do like to debunk it. I'll be honest. That the mattress that this happened on, I replaced, because I was having issues with the springs. So I was like, okay, maybe there was an issue where it was like I sat in it and I uncompressed the bed somehow, but I hadn't slept in it for hours. So for it to still be like that, and then uncompressed and fully compressed was like, excuse me? But then I thought about it, and I was like, but what if there was a paranormal event over the top of the fact that I had fucked up springs?
Right.
And you
that
don't
made it easier for it to compress or something.
But it's like, it's also the little things in life where you think about it and you're like, yeah, my keys were over here, but now they're over here, and no one touched them.
Yeah.
It's little things like that can easily be second guessed and easily debunked, that I think true paranormal events can lie, but they're easy to wave off.
See, that's what I think I need to have happen, and I'm totally like,
Dad, if you're listening, haunt Colin. Attack.
give him something that's like,
Attack.
give him something specific though. Like I need something specific so I know that it's him.
The only reason I knew it
Do
was
flicky
either my
lights.
dad or my
Classic flicky lights move.
Absolutely not.
Help.
Throw a book.
The only reason I knew it was my dad or my uncle is because they both worked in music, and I was working at music at 1 a.m. and my dad was infamously a night owl. So I was like, okay, this is probably pop.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's.
Sorry to get spooky.
Well, that's what I want to hear though. Like I want to hear stuff that like is more because I haven't had real experiences yet. But like, if you can get your dad to come and throw like a casino book at me.
I got it.
I don't have any casino books, so if he can find a casino book in my house and throw it at me, I'm gonna know it's for real.
He used to read them in the bathroom.
So he actually used to read.
Throw one of those bathroom casino books
There we go.
at Colin.
Tell him to find a casino book
just,
and throw it at me.
Just chuck a book in my face. I'll know it's you.
But that's it. I want to go do.
No, if my dad says what's up,
I'll let you know.
Yeah,
I'll let you know.
message me. Yeah.
But that's what I want to do. I want to go do. So now there's 2 shows I want to do. I want to do the Dead Space, and that'll be the name of the show. The show will be called Dead Space Podcast, I think. And then the real like I like the idea of doing the live sort of like
dead mic.
Yeah, like doing like sort of a almost like a TV show version of it where like we can get all these different angles and like production value and everything, but like
but I think what might be really appealing is the simplicity of it.
Yeah,
I think literally like 2 mics, like one mic, microphones for your podcasters, but one camera facing you guys.
Yeah.
And then one camera wherever the other microphone is.
Yeah.
Make sure that motherfucker is like plugged into a hard outlet.
Yeah.
So that it just doesn't magically die.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, like I don't need it to be like TV quality. I want it to be like, because part of it I think is like I'm thinking of it as like sort of like comedy almost, like where Yeah,
like you kind of believe.
Yeah.
But you're poking fun at the situation.
Totally. Like and then if something real happens, I'm 100% open to it happening. Like I'd love it if it happened because I want to get back to that where like I believed in that kind of stuff and like I kind of lost that a little bit.
Yeah, fuck a ghost. Whatever.
I have a
ghost?
Yeah, I guess.
I have a you-style question. What if you get a ghost in what if you get a ghost in the first episode? Is the podcast over?
No, because then it becomes like okay, if it's like so good, if it's so good and it's so legit, I want to do more. But I'll still be skeptical because I will if it happens in the first episode, I'll still be skeptical. I will still be able to write it off because this weird thing happened where like I believed everything I saw on the shows and then I believed none of it. Like to the point where like I believed none of it so hard that like you couldn't possibly convince me that
it was real.
An event that
they
happens
get ratings based on who sees a ghost.
Sure.
Like I mean that's just how it works, right?
I think it also might be cool for you to somehow rope into this idea doing a show that from these locations, but we find out like you started, is this place actually haunted or is it not haunted? Like is it just abandoned?
Right.
Or is it just legendary?
It's just scary
like, is it
or
just
is it haunted?
scary or is it actually haunted?
Yeah.
Like throughout the entire episode we have this dead mic space. Like the podcast is recorded in abandoned buildings.
Yeah.
But at the end of the episode you read off, ladies and gentlemen, this place is the such and such asylum, and guess what? It is actually not reported to be haunted. We're just here.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know what I mean? Like,
so don't tell people right away whether or not it's supposed to be a haunted space or not.
Yeah.
It's just a creepy space.
And you do that every episode with new locations.
Interesting.
So then that way, if someone does hear something, it's like, well, what'd you hear?
Right.
In this non-haunted space.
Yeah.
And then you go to a legit haunted one.
Right.
But you don't reveal it again until the end of the episode. And be like, oh.
Like, surprise, we're actually just in John's basement. The people you heard screaming in the background were the people he met on the side of the street. And he was helping.
Captured them.
Those were real people, not ghosts. So I think this is a good place to end the show.
We made it.
We should definitely talk about this more because I want to do something
I
like
want
this.
to too. Like I'm not really a ghost hunting type because I'm of the darker complexion. I'm usually the first to die in these movies, but I like this idea.
I don't even mean like let's ghost hunt. Let's just go like someone says like
dealing with the paranormal.
Yeah, like this is like Scary Mike's room over here, and nobody stays in this. Like I'll go stay in that room.
Scary Mike.
I will go stay in Scary Mike's room like tonight.
Good for you.
That's what I'm saying.
I will be safely hundreds of yards away in the comfort of my van.
And if I get murdered,
we talked about this on the podcast. I don't think that anyone's been killed by a ghost, except maybe the water tower lady.
No, Emily Rose.
Is that the water? Is that the water tower one?
No, that's
there's a movie based on it.
I forgot what the hotel woman's name is.
But for the most part,
that I think was more psychosis.
Who is Emily Rose? What happened?
Yeah, exorcism of Emily Rose was a real thing.
Yeah.
It is documented paranormal activity.
I don't know.
I don't know about it.
I've got to experience it myself. I've got to.
I got to read about it.
I've got to get murdered by a demon, and then I'll know for sure. Okay. We're over time, so let's wrap this up. You go.
No, you go.
This has been Good Not Great, episode 10. Thanks for hanging, and we'll see you next time.
See you.